Welcome back. This evening I'm going to walk you through how to do your own preventative maintenance on your portable generators. This particular generator is a Briggs & Stratton storm responder, and recently we had Hurricane Beryl hit the Texas coast, and me personally, I use this generator for about 7 days straight, pretty much 18 to 20 hours a day. I should have changed the oil at least once in between there, because most manufacturers recommend changing your oil every 50 to 100 hours of runtime. So this evening, if you stay tuned, what we're going to be doing, we're going to change the oil, we're going to check the spark plug, check the air filter, clean the machine up a little bit. So let's get started. For this particular model, again, it's a Briggs & Stratton storm responder, 5500 run watts, 8250 peak. We're going to need your basics. We got some synthetic 5W30, which Briggs & Stratton highly recommends using that weight and synthetic oil. It works for a wide variety of temperatures. I believe 30 degrees Fahrenheit up to about 105 or something like that, so maybe 110. Of course, we got a new spark plug. I've had this generator about 15 years and I've never changed it, so there's a number on that model, RC12YC. That's the champion number. Need some basic hand tools, flat blade screwdriver, 5/16 socket, a 5/8 spark plug socket, extension, and a ratchet. Of course, a funnel will make things a little neater, a little old sock to clean it up with. I've got some lumber here to put the generator to elevate it, and so that this gigantic drain pan will fit underneath it. So anyway, where we're going to be working, the area of interest, it's going to be this drain plug here. And of course, before we start and before we open that, we're going to clean this off to make sure we don't get any debris inside the motor, and especially on the oil filler cap when we get ready to put the new oil in. Once we take this off, we don't want any of this yuck and debris and nasty stuff to fall in there. You could damage your engine, your bearings, your rings, and whatnot. Other areas of interest are going to be your air filter cover, which will be right behind here. You got a couple of fasteners holding it down here, left and right. And then your spark plug will be located right chill. So anyway, let's get started. Some of my other videos, I'm going to fast forward through some of the nonsense or skip ahead, but you can follow along and see what we're doing. We're going to start on this oil filler area. We're going to clean that off as good as we can within reason. Look at all that. And then we're going to go to the oil drain plug, kind of wipe that crud off around there. Again, all this little bitty stuff helps in the long run, because dirt and debris inside your engine, that's the whole point of having an air filter. It prevents that stuff from getting inside the engine and damaging your piston rings or your crank and rod bearings, which can cause ultimately engine failure. So we got that thing on some blocks. Got this oil pan. I use this for my damn Duramax, that's why it's so big. Anyway, we're gonna get this plug loosened, and I forgot to add one tool I'm gonna need. You can use a adjustable end wrench. It'd be the easiest way to get this loose. This is a pipe plug. Little pro tip on using an adjustable end wrench: once you get it situated, get that bolt head as deep as you can, and always apply pressure towards the adjustable jaw. So since we're loosening, I'm gonna pull or push up. That's a lot more sturdy for the wrench and less likely to break the wrench if you were torquing on something heavy duty. Also, I didn't mention, I feel like a rookie right now, before you change your oil, run your generator, get it up to operating temperature so that all that gunk and oil is loose and ready to rock and come out of there. And y'all, we had to change by God phones, and don't do what I did and drop the dadgum oil drain plug in the oil. So anyway, after that drained about 5 or so minutes, I'm gonna take that plug out, I'm gonna wipe it down, and I'm gonna reinsert it. All right, give that little surface a little wipe again. Start your drain plug. And again, that is a pipe plug, so it's a tapered fit like any national pipe threaded item. So it's going to gradually get more and more snug. You're just going to have to fill it out. I don't have the torque specs for you. It's one of them things, just snug it pretty good. Don't tighten it down like a big old gorilla or something, but Let's get it snug. All right, now that's done. So on this Briggs & Stratton engine, it takes 0.875 of a quart of oil. So the big thing on these, on any of these small engines, especially from Briggs & Stratton, make sure your generator's sitting on a level surface. Mine, even though it's up on blocks, I've got the same amount of blocks under each of the 3 points. And again, I've already cleaned this thing here off. You're gonna gradually pour your oil in until you can see the oil come to their last thread or so right in here. And that is it. You can overfill it, so you don't want to do that. So I'm gonna put the camera down. I'm gonna start gradually adding the oil with the funnel, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna start at about 20 ounces, because a lot of your older Briggs engines ran 20 ounces was their capacity. I did get STP, well, I discussed that earlier. Synthetic, which ought to help the way these things are abused and used. Again, I ran this thing for probably 6 or 7 days during this last storm, 18, 20 hours a day, and you dang sure don't want it going down. Of course, I had a backup generator over to my right that I borrowed. Of course, you never knew, hell, they could have lost power at some point too, because folks during the storm were losing power, and after they get it on for an hour or two, they'd lose it, so you never know. All right, we're gonna take a look. Nope, not there yet. We're right there to the edge. Might add a little bit more, but we're gonna call that good. Maybe another ounce or so. Because I am on my driveway. All right. Can you see that? The oil's right towards the end of that filler neck. So we're gonna call that good. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna button this up. We're gonna go over there. We're gonna take that spark plug loose. We're gonna replace it, possibly. We're gonna look at it anyway. With this filler plug, just tighten it with your thumb. As you can see, it's got a couple of nubs on it. So if you do happen to over tighten it, or you can't get it off originally, a lot of times you can use a flat blade screwdriver or something like that and pry on it. All right, hold tight. Okay, come around to this other side. There's your little valve cover there. Anyway, your spark plug boot, you always want to kind of give it a twist, pull, and that helps separate that rubber from that porcelain and that steel cap. There's your plug. So we're going to use that 5/8 inch deep socket. This is actually a spark plug socket. It's got a rubber insert to keep from cracking the porcelain, and we're going to take that sucker out. See if we can get this positioned for y'all. Or let's just see if we can one arm this. Now, you'll feel it seat typically. Okay. Once you get it loose, you gotta be able to loosen it with your finger. All right. So again, I've had this generator 10 or 15 years. I could be lying, it could be a little bit more than that. I've never changed a spark plug. So again, after that heavy running time we did, you know, the electrode does look square, but you can see there's some carbon fouling. While we got the new plug, is $3.99. We're gonna replace it. All right, these spark plugs, like this specific one, they're usually set at a predetermined gap, and the gap is the area between this side electrode, this L-shaped piece, and that center electrode. And again, these are very specific to lawnmower style engines, okay? One of the pro tips I didn't tell you that I did prior to removing the plug is I took an air nozzle and blew the air around the spark plug before removing the plug itself and the boot. Did that earlier. And that, again, that helps keep debris from entering your engine. So always start these by hand. because it is a hell of a chore if you strip your spark plug hole or your threads, and you got to pull your engine apart, get a tap, and tap that hole back out, because sometimes they can be hard to start. So you do not want to start it by hand. All right, we've got that thing started by hand. We've made several revolutions to make sure it's going. I'm gonna take the ratchet, or excuse me, the socket, go ahead and finish it up as far as I can by hand. And then on these, when you get them down and seated, I don't know if y'all saw that, but these type of plugs actually have a metal gasket. They're not a tapered fit, so you're gonna have to apply some force. But again, you need to be careful when you're using that force and you're tightening this thing up, that you apply even pressure and don't go sideways on your ratchet, because you will crack the spark plug, the porcelain. And if you do that, you're not going to have a good electrical path and connection. All right, got that on there. Listen for the click. It's clicked in place. All right, let's get this air cleaner cover off. See what this old filter looks like. Y'all, I haven't really been good to this generator. I bought it used, and of course it hadn't ran a whole lot other than this last week. We've used it occasionally, but still, you should do better than what I've been doing with it. Did have to do a carb job on it a long time ago, because I let the carburetor sit with the ethanol freaking fuel, gum the carburetor up. Of course, fuel will always mess the carburetor up, even if it's ethanol free, but the ethanol tends to wreak havoc a little quicker than standard fuel. So if you have the option to buy ethanol free fuel, try to do that and save yourself some heartache. So here's your pleated automotive style filter. We'll take and blow that out with the air compressor real quick. But other than that, it don't look bad. I'm gonna reinstall it. Stand by. All right. I am gonna decide to not be a cheapo. I am gonna order a filter. So y'all can tear me up a little bit in the comments for not having one in advance, but why not order one? Hell, they're probably $5 on Amazon. Anyway, snug it up. And that's it. So for basic generator maintenance, that's really all you need to do. You have some basic hand tools, get some oil, get some plug, follow your manufacturer's recommendations on the oil type, the spark plug, the oil capacity, check your fuel filter if you have one. This one does not, but you can add an inline fuel filter right here. Check your air cleaner, air filter. If you're going to keep your generator stored with fuel, try to run ethanol free fuel. You can also add a fuel stabilizer into your fuel tank with your fuel. And the other thing I do, another pro tip, when you're done with your generator, I run it, turn the fuel valve off, let the fuel completely run out. And if you take it a step further, you can actually remove your carburetor bowl, which I don't know if we can see it here. See, mine's covered. But you can take it a step further and actually drain your carburetor bowl too. All I've ever done though, since I've started adding the stabilizer to my fuel, which I use Stabil, sometimes Briggs & Stratton brand, but all I've ever done is turn my fuel valve off, let the motor run until it runs out of fuel, crank it a couple more times just to make sure any residual fuel is not left in the jets, and man, it's been good to go. I crank it about once every 6 months, and just to be prepared and ready. So anyway, y'all, thanks for watching Texas Patriot Off-Road and Outdoors.